Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Comedy this hour, Lucille Ball and Richard Denning in an episode of My Favorite Husband, as it was broadcast February 17th, 1950, and you'll hear Richard Crenna, or Dick Crenna as he was billed at the time, in a role in this episode where Liz teaches Samba lessons.
It's time for My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball.
Jello, everybody.
Yes, it's the Gay Family series starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning, brought to you by the Jell-O family of desserts.
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O puddings.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O tapioca puddings. Yes, sirree.
And now Lucille Ball with Richard Denning as Liz and George Cooper. Two people who live together and like it. As we look in on the Coopers this morning, they're just ready to have breakfast.
Good morning, George.
Hey, what are you so gay about?
'Cause we're going to the Starlight Roof with the Rickies tonight. I've always wanted to go there.
Uh-oh. Was that tonight?
Yes, and I'm going to wear my brand new dress and a pair of... What do you mean? Was that tonight?
Well, we can't go, Liz. Mr. Atterbury's coming over with Mr. Forsythe.
Oh, George, can't you put them off? Tell them you broke your leg or something.
Oh, sure. They wouldn't suspect anything when I walked into the bank in the morning.
Well, after we come home from the Starlight Roof, we can break your leg.
I'm sorry, honey. Mr. Forsythe is too important. He was just elected to the board of directors. You'll just have to call the Rickies and tell them we can't make it.
No.
Liz?
Baby, won't you think of me
Look.
once a...
Pouting won't get you anyplace. So just slide that lower lip back about a foot.
Baby, won't you think of me once in a while?
Now, why don't you think of me once in a while? You know, all business isn't done in offices, Liz. There are more important things for women to do than taking care of the house and cooking and looking after children.
There are?
Well, I should say so. Hey, wait a minute. You have a maid to take care of the house, you don't know how to cook, and we don't have any children. Hey, what do you do all day anyway?
What do I do all day? Well, I like that. I spend the whole afternoon. Most of my time is taken up by... I'm going to call the Rickies.
That's better. And see how nice you can be to Mr. Forsythe this evening.
Oh, is he bringing his horsey wife and that jerky son of his along?
His wife's out of town. I don't know about his jerky son. Now, stop that, Liz. You'll get me in trouble.
Well, he's sure to bring along some of those stale stories of his.
Yeah, and that's another thing. He fancies himself quite a storyteller, so laugh it up.
I'll laugh at everything but that story about the dog and cat. You know, the cat can't sing a note, the dog's a ventriloquist.
Now, Liz, he always tells that one. You have to give him some reaction.
I'll give him a reaction, all right, but it might not be the one you expect.
I'd better test you. Now, let's pretend I'm Mr. Forsythe.
Okay.
Have you heard the one about the dog who played the guitar and the cat who sang Listen to the Mockingbird?
Yes.
Liz.
1,000 times.
Liz.
It wasn't funny in the first place.
Now stop.
You tell it lousy.
Now that's enough.
Where's your horsey wife and your jerky son?
Now cut it out, Liz. I want to hear you laugh tonight.
Well, then you better sit close and tickle me.
dinner, Liz girl.
Oh, yes, indeed. It's a wonderful dinner, Mrs. Cooper. It certainly was wonderful.
Well, thank you, Mr. Forsythe.
Yeah, well, say, I just happened to think of a very funny story.
Well, here we go.
Oh, this one is a Jim Dandy. It's a real pipperoo. Say, have you heard the one about...
No, I haven't
No,
heard that
how
one.
does it go?
But,
No, really, we haven't heard
Honestly,
it.
go ahead.
but I haven't told you what it's about yet.
It doesn't matter. They haven't heard it.
They might have.
Want to bet? Is it about the dog who played the guitar and the cat who sang?
Yes.
They haven't heard it. Go ahead.
Well, it seems there was this dog. Dog, you see, and he played the guitar while a little cat sang,
Listen to the mockingbird.
Yeah. You're sure you haven't heard this one?
No, and I'm dying to see how it comes out.
I can't stand it. Well, this booking agency took him down to a theater manager, and he was amazed, and he said, "That's amazing. Now, here's where it gets really good." And the agent said, "Look, before you hire them, I think there's something you ought to know." There's something in my throat. Have a glass of water, please. Miss Cooper?
Liz!
Huh? Oh, that's very funny. The cat can't sing and know the dog's a ventriloquist. It's a funny idea, isn't it, George?
Liz. Mr. Forsythe didn't finish the story. He asked for a glass of water.
Ooh.
You've ruined his story.
Oh, was that really the answer? It was just a wild guess.
No, that wasn't the answer.
It wasn't?
What?
No. You see, the theater owner wanted to hire just a cat. But the agent said he can't work alone. Here's the twist. The dog makes all his arrangements.
Oh, that's rich. Tell me, Mr. Forsythe, how's your family? Your cute little wife and your adorable son.
Oh, they're fine, Mrs. Cooper, although my son, Wally, is really having a very trying time right now.
Oh, what's wrong with the boy?
His first big formal dance is next week, you see, and it seems everybody in his crowd knows how to samba, but poor old Wally doesn't.
Oh, for goodness sake. Children worry about the silliest things, don't they? Doing the samba is so easy.
Do you know how to do the samba?
Oh, Liz is a wonderful samba dancer.
Oh, yes, I love to samba.
Well, Mrs. Cooper would be asking too much for you to teach Wally how to samba in time for the dance.
Well,
Oh, she'd love to.
She'll do it.
No, wait. Let's keep sanity. Now, let's let Mrs. Cooper decide. After all, she's the one who has to do the teaching.
Well, Liz?
Well, Liz.
Gladly, she said, with the cold muzzle of a revolver at each temple.
Excellent. I'll send him over the very first thing in the morning.
Good.
Mrs. Cooper, what are you doing dancing around the living room?
Oh, haven't you heard, Katie? I'm opening up a dance studio.
Huh?
Yes, all you need is 6 lessons with Liz Lazonga. My slogan is learn to samba with a red-hot number.
Now, what are you talking about?
I'm giving a samba lesson this morning to the son of the new board member at the bank.
Oh, really? What's the boy like?
Well, all I know is he's painfully shy. Never takes his eyes off the ground.
No.
Yeah, the first time I saw him, I thought he was looking for cigarette butts. Oh, that must be Wally. I'll get it.
Well, good luck, Mrs. Cooper.
Oh, hello. How are you, Wally? You remember me. I'm Liz Cooper. Won't you come in? Well, let's go in the living room, shall we? Won't you sit down? Picked up any good cigarette butts lately? Wally, say something.
I think I'm going to faint.
Now, Wally, your father said you wanted to learn to Samba. Samba. We might as well begin. Suppose you watch me now. Now, this is the basic step. Now, watch my hips, see? Do you think you can do that? Well, why don't you say something?
I'm watching your hips.
Wally, look, the step is very simple. And this time, look at my feet. Da-da-da-da. Wally, you're still watching my hips.
I like them. They're different.
Different from what?
My hips.
Look, Wally, you saw how it goes. Why don't you see if you can do it?
Well, I'll try.
Good. Now you try it alone first. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Fine. Only take smaller steps. Don't leap around so much. You'll be dancing with a girl, not an antelope.
Gee, this is kind of fun.
Well, it's really an easy step to do. I think maybe you've got it now. Suppose we try it together. I said suppose we dance together.
You mean just the two of us?
Yes, that's the usual number.
Mrs. Cooper, I can't dance with you. You're a woman.
I know. My husband likes me this way.
Gee, I don't know.
Look, Wally, some people are men and some are women. They're made that way so they can dance together. Really, it's very simple, Wally. Now let's try it.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Hey, this is all right. Oh, I think I'm catching on.
Oh,
gee, Mrs. Cooper. Oh, I'm sorry I stepped on your foot. You don't think it's broken, do you?
Oh, no. My shoe always bends under like this.
Well, if it isn't broken, we might as well go on dancing, huh? I'm beginning to like it.
Me too, Wally. I haven't had so much fun since I stepped on a rusty nail. On with the dance.
Hey, Liz!
I'm here in the bedroom, George.
How'd the lesson go, dear?
Just peachy.
Hey, what are you doing?
Soaking these red blobs that used to be my feet. My legs look like a couple of thermometers.
Then Wally isn't exactly Arthur Murray.
George, Wally dances the samba like a kangaroo with hot coals in its pouch.
I'm sorry the kid gave you such a rough time, honey, but it was worth it. Mr. Forsythe came to my office this afternoon, gave me a cigar, and sat and talked for half an hour. He never done that before.
Well, I'm glad my arches didn't fall in vain.
Oh, he said Wally had a wonderful time and was absolutely thrilled, at learning to Samba.
Well, it's nice to know the dancing bear enjoyed himself.
Oh, he did. In fact, the dancing bear is coming over for another lesson tomorrow.
Oh, no. George, I can't do it. My feet are only human, you know.
But, Liz, it may mean a promotion. Oh, say you'll do it. For me, huh?
Well, all right, George. But believe me, these little piggies will never go to market again.
Lucille Ball, Richard Denning, My Favorite Husband on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station. Back to Lucille Ball, My Favorite Husband, February 17th, 1950.
As we return to the Coopers, we find Liz in the unaccustomed role of dancing teacher. Right now, she's giving Wally Forsythe his second samba lesson. They're dancing not cheek to cheek, but shin to shin.
Oh, well, Wally, that was fine. You've improved a lot.
Gee, do you really think so, Mrs. Cooper?
I certainly do. We've been dancing for 5 minutes. You've only stepped on my feet 6 times.
It was real shrewd of you to wear Mr. Cooper's old football shoes.
Yeah, you don't get to my toes for 3 inches. Well, shall we try it once more?
Mrs. Cooper, before we try dancing again, I'd like to ask your advice about something.
All right, Wally.
Maybe we'd better sit down.
Shall we sit here on the couch?
Well...
Oh, it's all right, Wally. I'll sit at one end and you can sit at the other.
Well...
We could put a pillow between us to make it proper.
Well...
I'll tell you what. I'll go upstairs and you call me on the downstairs phone.
Oh, no, it's all right, Mrs. Cooper. We'll sit on the couch.
All right. Now, Wally, what do you want advice about?
Oh, I know it sounds awful silly, but I'm in love.
You are, Wally?
Yeah, with a girl.
Well, you couldn't have made a better choice.
You see, she doesn't know it yet, Mrs. Cooper, and I wanted to ask you, should I tell her or keep it to myself?
Of course you should tell her, Wally.
But, gee, you don't know how bashful I am, Mrs. Cooper. Even in school, when I want to leave the room, I don't hold up my hand. I climb out the window.
Well, Wally, it shouldn't be too difficult. Just take her by the hand and say, I love you.
Okay. Mrs. Cooper?
Yes?
Give me your hand. What? Mrs. Cooper, I love you.
Wally, there must be some mistake.
No mistake. I love you, Mrs. Cooper. Or, as I call you in my diary, Dreamboat.
Wally, you wrote that in your diary?
Yes, Mrs. Cooper. When I got home last night, I crossed out nothing much happened today, and I wrote in, wow!
Wally, you mustn't say things like that. After all...
Oh, I know you're older than I am and you're married, but, well, I just can't help the way I feel. Frankly, Mrs. Cooper, I think you're just real gone.
Well, anyway, my feet are.
Gee, I hope you aren't mad at what I said, but honestly, you're the swellest person I've ever known. You're the only person who's ever been nice to me.
Oh, now, Wally, surely somebody else is nice to you. What about your father?
He acts like he doesn't even know me.
What makes you say that?
He always refers to me as, what's his name?
Wally, I'm very flattered that you think you're in love with me, but you must remember I'm married to George.
Gee, I forgot all about Mr. Cooper. Oh, you wouldn't mind leaving him, would you?
I wouldn't mind.
I thought not. Well, he's so old.
Old?
He must be way over 30.
Why, yes. Yes, that's right, Wally. George is old and kind of broken down, and he needs me.
Needs you?
Yes, he needs me to keep fresh batteries in his hearing aid. And I'm the one he calls when his mush is too hot. He's too weak to blow it himself.
I should have known you'd be like this, loyal to the end. But if this is farewell, then could I kiss you goodbye?
Well,
Just one little kiss on the hand?
All right, Wally. What are we waiting for?
Where can I park my gum?
Well, don't bother parking it. We aren't going to be stopped that long.
Okay. Oh, you see, my kiss makes you cry out with passion, doesn't it?
No, your braces scratched me.
Can you believe it, Mr. Atterbury?
Tell us more, Liz. What did Wally do then?
Well, then he took me by the hand and said, Mrs. Cooper, I love you.
Why, that little devil.
That's pretty funny. Imagine Wally being in love with you, Liz. Isn't that a scream?
Ha ha.
Oh, now, Liz, you'll have to admit it's pretty hilarious.
Well, I'll admit I'm old enough to be his sister. But I don't see why his being in love with me is so funny. You fell in love with me once, you know.
Well, Liz, honey, I don't see why you're getting sore.
Now, look, you two. It's all over, and Liz did a wonderful job.
Oh, you gotta love it. Lucille Ball, Richard Denning, Gail Gordon B. Benadera, My Favorite Husband from February 17th, 1950. And yes, Richard Crenna is Wally Forsythe in this. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion, along with a visit to Wistful Vista. With Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues following these messages. Here's Mike Lindell talking about getting your best friend something special.
And Mike, you've done it again. You've brought us an amazing line of dog beds.
This has been a long time coming. It starts with the same patented fill for your dogs now as we do My Pillow. I wanted everything covered in sizes from your largest dog to your smallest dog. You can throw them in the washer and dryer. The dogs love it. They asked, and here they are. This is why you get the dog bed. This is the main reason. The dogs love it.
And you've got that 10-year warranty, right?
I can do it because the dogs love it. They don't want to wreck their bed.
And you can get these MyPillow dog beds at a price lower than the big box stores, as low as $19.95. Call 1-800-928-4715, 1-800-928-4715, or go to mypillow.com/pet and use my promo code Wyatt. Treat your best friend to a MyPillow dog bed, mypillow.com/pet. Promo code Wyatt. Thanks for joining us here at Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball, February 17th, 1950.
George, we're in solid with Forsythe, thanks to her.
Oh, it wasn't so much.
Oh, yes, it was. And to show my appreciation, I'm going to take you out on the town tonight. Anywhere you want to go.
Oh, could we possibly go to the Starlight Roof?
Why not?
Oh, wonderful.
I have come back. I have to see you again, Mrs. Cooper.
Wally, what are you doing here?
Mr. Cooper, your wife and I love each other madly, and I want you to give her up. After all, you're old. Your hair is streaked with gray. Your face is all lined and saggy. And your stomach is...
I'm Mr. Atterbury. That's Mr. Cooper.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Cooper, your wife and I love each other. Don't we, Dreamboat?
Wally.
What, Dreamboat?
Go away.
No, stay here. Speak up. Blow your whistle, Dreamboat.
George, Mr. Atterbury, please.
I've decided to take you away, Mrs. Cooper. I can't leave you here, a nursemaid to an empty shell of an old man.
Wally.
Sometimes it's merciful to be cruel. Tell your husband what you said about him today.
Liz, what did you say about me?
Well,
Go ahead, don't be afraid. Tell him, Dreamboat.
Wally Forsythe, don't call me Dreamboat.
Anything you say, darling.
And don't call me darling.
Okay, I won't, dear.
And don't call me dear.
Try mother.
Mr. Cooper, why don't you step out and let your wife find the happiness she deserves? After all, you're an older man. You're more like her father.
The boy's right. Why don't you give her up, Dad?
Liz, what did you tell this kid about me?
Well, it's all very simple, George. I explained to Wally about your age and how you need me. Understand, George? I explained how you're getting on in years, and now, more than ever, you need me.
It isn't fair to hold her. You can get somebody else to blow your mush.
Oh, yes. She's right, Wally. I need her now more than ever. If Liz left, there'd be nobody here to knit my shawls. And when my rheumatism twists me in knots, who'd untie me?
See, Wally, he needs me. I can't leave him.
But Dreamboat, Mrs. Cooper, what about me?
You'll just have to forget, Wally.
Very well. I'll go away. I'm going where there aren't any women.
You're going to join the Foreign Legion.
No, I'm going to join the YMCA. Mrs. Cooper, as long as this is goodbye, may I kiss your hand?
Of course, Wally.
Oh, darn those braces. Farewell.
Oh, wasn't he sweet? George, why don't you ever kiss my hand?
Well, I would, kiddo, but I'm too old to bend over.
Never mind.
Well, now that Liz's grimy amours are out of the way, shall we go to the Starlight Room?
Oh, yes, let's. I better get dressed. Oh, George, we're finally going to the Starlight Room.
I'll get it. Hello? Oh, hello. How are you, sir? Tonight? Well, oh, yes. Yes, it'll be all right. I'll tell her. Goodbye.
Who was that, George?
Mr. Forsythe. He's on his way over here.
What on earth for?
Well, you did such a good job with Wally. Now, he wants to learn the Samba.
Oh, no!
Yes, Lucille, what gives?
Tonight, Robert, I'm going to read your mind. I will be a Swami.
A Swami is a man.
Oh, I will be a Swamette. Swamini? I will be an Oriental mind reader. A little mental music, Wilbur.
Good afternoon. Are you the mind reader?
Yes, please. I am a Japanese mind reader.
Well, can you read my mind?
Oh, so sorrow. Cannot read English. Can you think in Japanese?
Oh, now, come on. Take a crack at it.
Okay. Open your head, please.
All right, go ahead.
I see plenty trouble ahead.
With me?
No, with this accent. For you, I see, you have date with a beautiful girl.
That's tonight.
Oh, she's taking you to her home. She's saying, what do you want? You saying, I want Jell-O tapioca pudding.
Well, gee, I hope it's Jell-O vanilla tapioca. Delicious, light, and tempting.
Wait a minute, please. If a Japanese boy had offered like that, he would never say Jell-O vanilla tapioca.
He wouldn't?
No, thank you. He wouldn't say that.
Well, what would he say?
Jell-O chocolate tapioca. So rich, the kids say it's candy good.
Well, you see, that's the difference between the Orient and the Occident.
Yes, I am from Orient, but this accent is from Occident. Now, please, I should take lady in arms. You whispering soft, sweet strings in ear.
Really?
Yes.
Am I saying Jell-O orange coconut tapioca, a refreshing blend of orange and tropical coconut?
Yeah. Oh. Yes, and then you saying, I cannot repeat. No.
Well, go ahead. What do I say?
You say, no, I can't say. Jell-O tapioca puddings are easy. They take only about 5 minutes to preparing.
I said that.
Oh, you devil, you. Good night.
You have been listening to My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning, and based on characters created by Isabel Scott Rorick. Tonight's program was produced and directed by Jess Oppenheimer, who wrote the script with Madeline Pugh and Bob Carroll Jr.
Had to include that Jell-O commercial in there. February 17th, 1950, My Favorite Husband on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of Fibber McGee and Molly, February 17th, 1956.
Mr. McGee is downtown this morning, which gives Mrs. McGee a chance to get some housework done. She's happily dusting the living room furniture right now and singing merrily to herself.
Oh, let me go, let me go, let me go, lover.
Cleaners, ma'am. Right back, cleaners.
Oh, yes.
You called in for a pickup?
That's right. Just a minute. Come in, won't you?
Oh, thanks. Sure is a pretty day out, isn't it?
Yes. My husband went downtown this morning and didn't take his overcoat. That's why I called you. Thought this would be a good time to have it cleaned right quick.
You called the right place.
Here it is. You'll have it back by 6 tonight, won't you? The weather may turn cold again, you see. And
We'll have it back, don't worry. 1 day service. Right back cleaners always bring it right back. That's our motto.
Good. Pardon me a moment.
That's okay. I'll make your slip out.
79 Wistful Vista, Molly McGee speaking.
Hello, Mrs. McGee. This is Mr. Wimple. Wallace Wimple?
Oh, yes, Mr. Wimple. How are you?
Oh, fine. I feel just wonderful. Wonderful.
And Mrs. Wimple?
Out of town.
Oh?
Say, I hate to bother you, but is Mr. McGee home? Since Sweetie Face is gone, I thought maybe he and I could attend a meeting of the PTA tonight at the Elks.
The PTA?
Yes, the Pool Table Association.
Oh, yes, he mentioned that on occasion.
Please don't ever tell her what it means, or there go my free nights.
Oh, don't you worry. Your secret is safe with me. But I'm sorry, Mr. Wimple, McGee's not here.
Oh?
Just left half an hour ago, went down to get a haircut. Joe's barber shop.
Oh? Well, it's such a nice morning, I think I'll take a walk over there and sit down and wait for him. Anyhow, there's a story in Peekaboo Detective magazine over there at the barber shop that I never finished.
Oh?
It's all about a detective who's on the trail of a man who slugged his big old wife. And I'm dying to see how he made out.
The detective?
No, the man. Goodbye.
Bye.
Here's your receipt, ma'am. Oh, did you empty the pockets?
Oh, dear, I'm glad you reminded me of that. His pockets are always so cluttered with junk. Oh, candy bar. Well, that's one pocket. Let's see what's in the other one.
Yeah, this is kind of fascinating.
That's funny. Empty.
Too bad. We still got room on the tabletop here.
Oh, the pocket's got a hole in it. No wonder. Well, I'll fix that when you bring it back. There you are.
Okay, thanks. I'll have it back at... Oh, wait a minute. There's something in the inside pocket here. Oh, a Valentine card.
Oh?
Just to hold your hand in mine sends tingles up and down my spine. So won't you make my life divine and say you'll be my...
Give me that.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry. I didn't know you, Well, I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of, lady.
Well,
Me and my wife, we always exchange stupid things like that around Valentine's Day. It's a holiday. It gets you.
Sure.
And you should be flattered he saved yours. I usually throw mine away.
I suppose you're right.
Boy, that husband of yours, he sure must be a romantic type guy. You better keep an eye on him. Well, don't worry. I'll be back with his coat at 6.
Oh, thought he'd never leave. Hello, Mabel? Molly. Look, Mabel, I've got to talk to you right away. It's about a Valentine card I sent McGee. Well, it was signed Your Loving Molly, and I just found one in his overcoat pocket signed Snooky. Yes, an entirely different card. Of course I didn't send it. I haven't the slight... Wait a minute. It says, just to hold your hand in mine sends tingles up and down my spine. Snooky. Mabel. It's that manicurist at the barber shop, Helen Snookerman. She's after McGee, Mabel. Oh, dear. Wait right there. I'll be right over. Oh, my. Oh.
Well, now, don't look so worried.
Well, this is such a silly situation. I wish I knew what to do.
Well, just relax. Relax. That's it. Now, let me have your coat.
But I told you over the phone. McGee is over there at that barber shop right now, Mabel, in that girl's clutches. And the poor lad, he's so inexperienced when it comes to, well, designing women.
Ah, for goodness sake.
But for all I know, this very moment, she may be cutting his nails, holding his hand.
When did Fib ever get a barbershop manicure?
Well, not since I've known him, come to think of it. But he's over there just the same, getting his hair cut. And she's there.
Look, Ma, for goodness sake, a barbershop is a public place. There's nothing to worry about in a barbershop.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. And Mr. Wimple's over there with him.
If she had lured him out to some nightclub or something, it'd be different. You know, dinner for two, candlelight.
Oh, Mabel, don't say things like that.
Oh, Ma, let's look at this sensibly. Now, what actually has happened?
Well,
a flirtatious little manicurist sends your husband a Valentine card. He puts it in his overcoat pocket where you find it days later. Now, just exactly what does that prove?
Well, for one thing, it proves he values her card enough to save it.
How do you know he saved it? We all know how forgetful he is. He probably meant to throw it away the same day after showing it to the boys for a laugh, but he probably forgot.
Well, he has been known to carry a check for the power company around in his pocket for a month and then say, what happened when our lights go out?
Sure, you see what I mean.
Well, Mabel, I feel much better.
Oh, sure. Now forget it. Come on. Go home, tear the card up, forget the whole thing.
You don't think I ought to mention it to McGee, huh?
Oh, be the worst thing you could do. It'd sound like you don't trust him, and my goodness, that'd be just...
Oh, you know I trust McGee. Heavenly days, it isn't him, it was just her I was worried about. And I guess I can't blame her much either. He is rather handsome and sort of romantic and exciting to be with.
Who?
McGee.
Oh, him, yes.
I can still remember how it was at the high school prom. All those girls flocking around him, just begging for a dance, tearing at his clothes and all. I had a bad cold that night and couldn't go, but he stopped by and told me all about it on his way home.
He did, huh?
Yes. Wasn't that sweet of him?
Mm-hmm.
Being so popular like that and all? And he thought enough of me to leave early and spend the rest of the evening sharing that basket of fruit my Aunt Sarah sent me.
Well, that's fib. Anything to eat.
Why he chose me, I'll never know. But he's been wonderful to me, Mabel.
Yeah, well, that's well, Ma. Now,
I'm just crazy about that man.
Good. Now you just get...
Imagine. Even that Mildred Flockbender girl was after him. But he chose me.
Yeah, well, that... Who?
Mildred Flockbender. She was the prettiest girl in town. Used to call McGee up at least 6 times a day. Of course, she never would admit it when I asked her about it. But McGee never kept anything from me. He was always that way. That's why I can't imagine why he never mentioned this card.
Oh, he probably didn't want to worry you unnecessarily. Take my advice, Ma. Dismiss this whole incident from your mind. It's silly. Forget it.
You're right, Mabel. I guess I have been making a mountain out of a molehill. I feel so much better.
Good. I'll get your coat and then you'll do... Oh, just a minute. Excuse me, Ma.
Hi, Mabe. How's everything?
Oh, you. What do you want?
Huh? What the heck's the matter with you?
Not a thing. And if you're looking for your poor, sweet little wife, she's inside.
I know. That's why I came over here.
Hello, dearie. McGee, your overcoat.
Huh?
You're wearing your overcoat.
Yeah. It was nice and warm when I left this morning, but I didn't want to take any chances, so I wore it. Why so surprised?
Well, I just gave an overcoat to the cleaner. A blue one just like that.
Oh, you mean the big one that was hanging on the rack in the hall?
Yes.
Oh, that was Mort's.
Mort's?
Yeah, Mort Toops. You know, Mabe. Your husband. Mort left it there this morning when he picked me up. We went to the barber shop together, and Mort's still down there, but Where's she going?
Mabel! Mabel, come back here. At least take your hat and coat.
Hey, what's the matter with her?
Never mind, dearie. Hand me her hat and coat there. Quick.
Huh?
You run on home. I'll see you later. Mabel! Wait a minute, Mabel!
Hey, look at her go. Gee whiz. Nobody said a word about how they like my new haircut.
McGee, I think that was a terrible thing to do.
Gee whiz, Molly, it was all in fun. How'd I know it would backfire like this? Serves Mort Toops right for saving that card me and Doc sent him in the first place.
You never should have...
I told him 1,000 times. Mort, I says, you better get rid of that card, I said. The joke's over, I says. If Mabel ever finds it, she'll break your...
Oh, goodness, that reminds me. Let's be sure to send him a basket of fruit tomorrow. Maybe it'll make him feel better.
Yeah. So long, everybody.
See you later.
Wallace Whipple is played by Bill Thompson and Mabel Toops by Mary Jane Croft. The man from the Cleaners was Sam Edwards. Have a nice weekend now, and plan to be back with us Monday as McGee attempts to read an adventure story. This is John Wall saying so long.
From February 17th, 1956, Fibber McGee and Molly on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Folks, this is Riley, alias William Bendix. I'd like to talk to you about something very important to all of us. You know what traffic accidents are. There's something that happened to other people, but not to you. Your life is charmed. When you sit behind the wheel of your car, nothing can harm you. Nothing can touch you. It's impossible that you could be the victim of a traffic smash-up. Doesn't that sound a little ridiculous? Of course it does. But that's the thinking of the majority of America's drivers. And that's the thinking that causes traffic accidents. The truth of the matter is that unless you drive safely and lawfully, an accident can happen to you. Last year it happened to 32,000 persons who died as a result. It happened to more than 1 million others. They were the lucky ones. They were only injured. In every single case, the National Safety Council reports that at least one traffic law was violated. So when you drive your car, remember that your only guarantee of safety is lawful driving. Obey the traffic regulations and drive carefully. The care you take may save a life, and that life may be your own.
Stuff we still need to remember today, don't you know? Hope you'll visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me. classicradio.stream. Don't forget that our shows are available anywhere podcasts are served on the internet, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and even through Amazon Music and the Audible app. All you have to do is search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. And if you want to find some great shows of your own on cassette or CD, don't want to get them through the internet, contact Ted over at radiomemories.com. That's radiomemories.com. He supplies classic radio programs on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. And with that, with a flash drive, you can connect them straight to your computer where you can put them on your phone or iPod or whatever. Just contact Ted, radiomemories.com. Have yourself a great day, won't you please? And tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.